boy, what are you barking at? What do you see?
Fraggle Rock debuted in 1983 as one of the first shows involving the collaboration of Henson International Television. The series, which lasted for 5 seasons, told the tale of various storylines involving the Doozers, the Gorgs, Doc and Sprocket, the Trash Heap, and of course, the Fraggles. The show and the new world it created were a global hit with these silly creatures, which is what Fraggles called us humans. So today, let's remember Fraggle Rock.
Worries for another day, let the music play. Down at Fraggle Rock, down at Fraggle Rock,
down at Fraggle Rock.
Afternoon everybody, and welcome to another weekly video. The adventures of various inhabitants of an underground civilization. Doc and his dog Sprocket have a hole in their wall, and behind which live little furry creatures known as Fraggles, in a place called Fraggle Rock. So how did the idea and location of Fraggle Rock come to be? The idea of Fraggle Rock was based on the Bermuda Crystal Caves thanks to Michael K. Frith, co-creator of Fraggle Rock. Since he was a child, Frith recalls spending time exploring the caves, from marveling at the finger-like stalactites gripping the cave's atrium like ceiling and the massive stalagmites reaching from the ground. He soaked everything in, so years later when Jim Henson asked Frith, who was the editor for many Dr. Seuss shows and now worked with Jim Henson, to create a new TV show targeted at children, Frith looked no further than the magical world resting right beneath his feet. But it wasn't simply the caves that inspired Frith. It was also the way they were discovered. During the last ice age, roughly 1.6 million years ago, the crystal caves formed as a result of rainwater eroding the surrounding limestone. But they remained unknown to Bermudians up until 1907, when Carl Gibbons and Edgar Hollis, 2 local boys, accidentally discovered them.
And as I began to explore those tunnels in my mind, they began to branch out into caves, and stalactites and stalagmites began to materialize. And of course, as that happened, I really began to realize, I think, where this was coming from. And we all know the story, all of us who grew up in Bermuda, about the 2 kids who are playing cricket, and the kid hits the cricket ball and it rolls across the ground and down through a hole, and cricket ball, maybe it was a tennis ball, I don't know, but I believe it was a cricket ball, is a fairly precious thing. So he ran home and he got a torch and he came back and he shined it down the hole, and he couldn't quite see where the hole ended, and he crawled in, and he and his mate after it, and there they were in this extraordinary cave, in this place with the beautiful stalactites and stalagmites and the water dripping down and the inky black pool that probably, almost certainly, no human being had ever seen before.
Now, more than a century later, the 1,600-foot long, 200-foot deep cave system remains one of the island's most popular destinations, seeing roughly 85,000 visitors each year. According to Frith, the audience we were reaching for was one that we felt, at least where television was concerned, massively underserved. The mid-kid, beyond Sesame Street, but as they put it back then, not yet reading Playboy. A child that's still able to become lost in the magic of fantasy and music and storytelling, all in an impossible world brought to life by brilliant puppetry. So Fraggle Rock in the United States was on HBO, but it was also the first HBO original. So before Sex and the City, Game of Thrones, there was Gobo, Mokey, Wembley, Boober, and Red.
Let's see, what's slushy, slimy, slushy, grimy, squishy, squash, roll up tiny, makes you feel like jellies on your chest. Well, I don't know if you care, but it's crawling up your head.
And speaking of those names, those would be our 5 main Fraggles. The one that we might consider the leader was Gobo. Gobo Fraggle is an explorer just like his uncle Traveling Matt, which we will talk about soon. Traveling Matt explores our Earth. Gobo explores all the facets of Fraggle Rock, and sneaking into Doc's workshop to grab the postcards, delivered by his uncle. Performed by Jerry Nelson from 1983 to 1993, and then John Tartaglia from 2013 to present, Gobo is brave, bold, and always there to help his fellow Fraggles.
Oh, Sprocket will have to accept the fact that he's wrong. Nothing lives behind that hole.
Well, if Candace says we need to touch, who am I to argue?
Hello? Oh, Ned. Oh, listen. There's no point in coming over to help because... What? But you told me things were fine. You have to move. But move to where? As far away as that? But how will you manage? Now, you listen to me, Ned Schimmelfinney. If the doctor says you have to move for your health, then that is what you'll have to do. I'm losing my friend. My best friend.
It's losing its best friend. I know how that feels.
How can this be happening? It was always such a part of me and of everything I do.
Don't worry. I'm sure it'll be all right.
Who said... Who are you?
You mean, you can see me?
Can't I?
What's that?
Oh, it's
Oh, it honks. That's it. We're all a part of everything, and everything's a part of us. Even you. Could I have that?
I'm sure Sprocket won't mind.
Thanks. Thanks for everything.
Oh, wait. Please. Please.
Then we have the den mother of the group, Mokey Fraggle. Mokey is a dreamer. She loves painting, writing poems, writing in her diary, meditating, or just enjoying her surroundings.
If you watch them long enough, can you learn to understand them?
She is the oldest of the Fraggle Five, and always there to offer advice or to help a friend in need. Mokey was named after a childhood friend of Jim Henson. However, in the language of the ancient Fraggles, Mokey means put on your hat, which is the opposite of the meaning of Gobo's name. Performed by Catherine Mullen, she delivers a peaceful tone we have come to love. Next up is Wembley Fraggle. Wembley is the youngest Fraggle of the group. He is often cheerful and energetic, but also very insecure. He usually agrees with everybody at the time because he hates to argue. Wembley never seems to make up his mind. He even has trouble deciding which shirt to wear, although he only owns two, which happen to be identical.
Oh, that reminds me. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh, Gobo, Large Marvin is in her tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, Red's first annual Fraggle Rock Invitational Splashathon. You and I are a team, remember?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, we're going to Blue Rock.
Yeah, that'll be a real adventure too, won't it?
Wembley, you drive me nuts. You can't do them both.
Can't? Well, what should I do?
What do you want to do?
Well, I don't know. Can you give me a hint?
Wembley, you decide.
Oh, well, let's see this. Yeah!
Wembley!
Oh, boy, making a decision sure is hard.
He is performed by Steve Whitmire. Michael Frith stated that part of Wembley's character originated with a line from The Great Muppet Caper. In the film, Nikki Holiday tells his sister no when she expresses her desire to lock her diamond necklace away in a safe. When he's called on this, he states, "Yes, I meant yes. Why would I say no when I meant yes?" Frith thought that statement would make an interesting character. Next we have Boober Fraggle. Unlike other Fraggles, Boober does not like fun and games, and he spends most of his time worrying about doom and disease. When he's not worrying about himself, he's busy warning others. He is easily frightened and suffers from a variety of phobias, like the fear of heights. Because of his fears, he is very knowledgeable about health and superstition. He often has a lucky charm for just about anything, often multiples. Aside from his friends, there are only two things in life Boober is very fond of: laundry and cooking. He is performed by Dave Goells.
When I wake, I see one more mystery. While our lives run, is there someone bringing you and me? Dream a dream and see what a dream can be.
Next we have Red. Red is athletic and energetic. She likes to think of herself as the fastest and strongest Fraggle in Fraggle Rock. She is highly competitive with her friends, which sometimes causes extreme interpersonal problems, especially with Gobo Fraggle, although she has admitted that despite her constant competition, she secretly admires him. Red also has her share of insecurities. She especially hates to admit her mistakes.
Mokey Fraggle, you took my radish bars, and then you lied to me about it! I'm going to take you before the eminent and venerable Council of Sages!
Red,
Before last nap, I marked 4 radish bars with Boober's magic soap, and they were stolen again!
That's true.
So whosever hand turns red when you put it in water is the thief.
Red.
Let's start with you, Mokey.
I should speak
And... What? It's my hand that's red!
That's what I've been trying to tell you, Red. You see, last night after you went to sleep, I saw what happened. Oh,
I feel so dumb. I guess I should have waited till I had real proof before I accused anyone, especially my best friend.
Yeah.
Red Fraggle, you are guilty of false accusation.
Do you have anything to say for yourself?
Well, what can I say? Mokey, I'm so sorry. I can't apologize enough. I wouldn't blame you if you never spoke to me again.
Oh, Red. Oh, your apology is enough, and, well, I wouldn't want to never speak to my best friend again.
She loves sports, especially diving and swimming. Her job is to clean the pool in the middle of Fraggle Rock. She also teaches swimming classes and considers herself an expert at rock hockey. She's also roommates with Mokey, performed by Karen Perel. Red is a fireball, like her name indicates. Fraggle Rock was the first American TV show to be broadcast in the Soviet Union. After spending time in Moscow in 1984 to shoot Jim Henson Presents with Russian puppeteer Sergei Abratsov, Henson became very interested in bringing his programming to the Soviet Union. Following successful screenings of both The Dark Crystal and Labyrinth at the Moscow Film Festival, Henson was able to sell Fraggle Rock to Russian television, making it the first American series to be broadcast there. The fact that the Berlin Wall fell just 10 months later was not lost on Henson's company. We always joke that Fraggle Rock led to the end of the Cold War. Next on the show, we would have the Doozers.
So this is another one of the species of Fraggle Rock. This is called a Doozer. Now, if Fraggles live to play, Doozers live to work.
They live with the Fraggles, but they rarely interact. Their whole job is to build structures so the Fraggles can eat them. The Doozers are a race of characters from Fraggle Rock who love to work. They're tiny green creatures who usually sport construction helmets, boots, and tool belts. Doozers stand approximately knee-high to Fraggles at 6 inches tall. Unlike Fraggles, Doozers love to work all day long and they hate playing games. When compared to other races with Fraggle Rock, they are by far the most technologically advanced. Most Doozers are construction workers, while others are architects or miners. With the help of various Doozer machines and vehicles, they build elaborate constructions all over Fraggle Rock, like towers, buildings, roads, and bridges. Their building materials are Doozer sticks, and they're made of radish dust.
Radish
Yes, Chief!
I'm your wife, Wingnut!
Oh, you know I can't recognize you with that helmet on.
To the radish mine!
A dream and make it true. That's what Doozers like to do, and building is the Doozer way to go. 2, 3, 4, 'cause every day the world is new. There's dreams to pay attention to, and building is the surest way we know. 2, 3, 4.
Doozer sticks are the Fraggles' favorite snack, and they love to eat the buildings that the Doozers build. The Doozers don't mind their buildings being eaten, and making their building material out of the Fraggles' main food source was not a coincidence. When the Fraggles' food source in the past was mushrooms, that's what the Doozer sticks were also made of. If Fraggles didn't eat the constructions, the Doozers would run out of building space, and if they ran out of building space, they would have to move away from Fraggle Rock or else they would die. While Doozers are capable of finding other tasks to occupy their time, such as knitting, this simply slows the process and are also considered far less pleasant. Next up, we have the Gorgs, the oafish giants that look to capture the Fraggles. Gorgs are the giant creatures of Fraggle Rock. Though apparently there were other Gorgs at one point, the only ones shown are a family union consisting of Pa Gorg, Ma Gorg, and Junior Gorg.
Put it down, and then you sit on it, and kablam! One nice flat crown!
And I'm not gonna say they've come up with the most clever names for their family, but it works. They're a royal family living in a rundown castle, as well as the self-proclaimed rulers of the universe. Other Gorgs that were referred to would be Ma's mother, Queen Esmeralda, and King Gorgas the Great, oddly enough not named Grandmother and Grandfather Gorg. Although they were named, no other Gorgs appeared on the series. It's unrevealed if Ma, Pa, and Junior are the only Gorgs left, or if there are others and they just simply have never been seen. Interview footage used in Muppet Stuff, the animated works of Jim Henson, features Frith explaining that there were only 3 left, but they don't know that, so as far as they're concerned, they are the rulers of the Gorgs and therefore the universe. In the first season episode, The Great Radish Famine, it is learned that Gorgs need to use special cream to keep themselves from becoming invisible. In the book, If I Were King of the Universe, Junior admits that he doesn't know where the other Gorgs have gone, or if they will ever return. And next to the Gorgs, we have the almighty Trash Heap, who is a sentient pile of garbage that offers insights to the Fraggles. You would also have to sneak past the Gorgs to get to the Trash Heap. Marjory the Trash Heap was performed by Jerry Nelson. According to her rat-like companions, Philo and Gunge, who serve as her acolytes, the Trash Heap knows and sees all. Marjory says, "I'm orange peels, I'm coffee grounds, I'm wisdom." She serves as an oracle to the Fraggles, dispensing advice and wise sayings, and the Fraggles stand in awe and reverence of her.
And we found this blanket?
That is not trash, it's brand new.
But somebody threw it out.
Do I know trash when I see it?
Oh, you know everything, Marjory.
Well, get rid of it. Leave it out with the garbage.
But this is the garbage.
Take it down to the dump.
But we are the dump.
Am I the trash heap or a gift shop?
Gifts? That's it. We'll give it away. But who to?
Excuse me, Madam
Next, let's move a little outside of Fraggle Rock to our human world. We have Doc and Sprocket, who happen to live where the Fraggle Rock exit and entrance is. Because of this, Sprocket often sees the Fraggles, while Doc doesn't really seem to notice. And this leads us to the Fraggle who adventures outside Fraggle Rock into our world. In a clever twist, Uncle Traveling Matt explains our world as a Fraggle sees it.
Pond. As you can imagine, I felt very, very comfortable being around water again. Hi! Isn't the Fraggle Pond lovely today? Ah! I saw many creatures who make their homes around this pond, but the strangest inhabitants of this region are the hole-sewing creatures. Apparently, holes are very powerful in this world. So powerful, in fact, that these creatures devote their lives to ridding the world of holes. First, they sew them together, and then they load the captive holes into boats, take them out into the middle of the Fraggle Pond, and dump them in. I'm not sure why a simple hole is so dangerous.
But I think holes are best avoided, don't you? I'll write again soon. Love, your Uncle Traveling Matt.
Traveling Matt's name is actually a play on the words Traveling Matt, the effects technique that was used to create his segments, wherein 2 or more images are combined into one. Gobo is another piece of film industry jargon. Their device is used to control the shape of light emitted from a source. Uncle Traveling Matt is a brave Fraggle explorer and Gobo's uncle on Fraggle Rock. He ventures outside Fraggle Rock to explore the human world of outer space, which is what he calls our Earth. To document his exploits, Matt sends Gobo a series of postcards recounting his experiences with the silly creatures and their culture from the Fraggle point of view. Uncle Matt prides himself on his bravery and resourcefulness, but also tends towards clumsiness, frequently falling backwards or tripping during his travels. Although what we covered is just a small selection of the very vast world of Fraggle Rock, It's also important to note that it is a global show. Whereas the bulk of Fraggle Rock viewers are familiar with Doc the Inventor and his dog Sprocket, that wasn't the case with every audience member. In order to connect with its specific audience, the human segments of Fraggle Rock changed with the show's location. While viewers in America, Australia, New Zealand, and others know Doc and Sprocket, British audiences got to know the Captain, a retired sailor played by Fulton McKay, and Sprocket, who lived in a lighthouse.
Why don't you go play by yourself?
Depending on what country they're in, the Fraggles look out at a different dock. In England, Doc is a lighthouse keeper.
Stand to, Sprocket. Mail boat alongside. Here we are. Oh, bills. Nothing for you today, Sprocket. Hello, what's this? Gobo Fraggle. Not even addressed to us. Gobo Fraggle. Who's Gobo Fraggle? I know the place for that.
In France, Doc is a chef, and Sprocket is called Croquette.
Électricité, facture, téléphone, facture, impôt, facture. Tiens, une carte pour un dénommé Gobo Fraggle. Non, Fraggle. Ça te dit quelque chose, ça, Croquette? Et pourquoi m'envoie-t-on du courrier pour ce Gobo Fraggle? Et bon, ben ça va, j'ai compris. Bon, il n'y a que le timbre qui t'intéresse. Oui. Ah, voilà.
In the German version, just as in the original production, Doc is an inventor.
Das ist Körperpflege für Hunde. Hier nimmst dir zu Herzen. Und da... Na nu, was ist denn das? An einen Herrn Gobo Fraggle oder Fraggle. Nun sag mal, wie kommt denn die Post für einen Gobo Fraggle hierher? Also die kann man nur so heißen. Weg damit. So, und jetzt gehe ich noch mal raus und hol das restliche Werkzeug.
Oh, he's getting ready to come back to us.
He's gonna do it.
Uncle Traveling Matt was also played by Dave Goelz. It's interesting to note that most of the British versions of the episode are missing. Though the total number of missing episodes varies from source to source, the original recordings of many of the British segments with Fulton McKay went missing years ago. Various media outlets and fans of the show have set about staging appeals to the public to share their VHS tapes of the original series so that the UK version of the show is not lost forever. And it's interesting to know that the Fraggles were not always Fraggles. They used to be called Woozles. That name was abandoned when Henson and his team realized that Winnie the Pooh already had creatures known as the Woozles. At one point, the series was being developed under the title Fraggle Hill, but that was also abandoned for sounding too British. And finally, the theme song. Sure, it's catchy, but the Fraggle Rock theme song actually became quite a hit, at least in England, where it reached number 33 on the British music charts. Though Boober's ending line of "Down at Fraggle Rock" is the best known version of the theme song, 5 different endings were recorded, one with each of the main Fraggles delivering the final line, with the intention that the openings would rotate between the episodes. And Fraggle Rock lives on, in addition to the original series being available on DVD and streaming. On April 25th, 2014, Hulu launched its first series for Hulu Kids, Doozers, which introduces a new cast of Doozers to the Fraggle Rock universe. The Fraggles, since September 2005, the Jim Henson Company announced its plans to adapt Fraggle Rock into a feature film with plans to release in 2009. And it didn't look like it was gonna happen. But because of the wildly successful new Muppet movies, it finally appears as if the Fraggles are headed for the big screen. Last March, Variety announced that the Fraggle Rock movie is indeed happening, with Joseph Gordon-Levitt set to produce and star in it. There's also been a cartoon version and a reboot on Apple TV called Fraggle Rock Back to the Rock, which is all great, but for me, the original will always have a special place. And that is our video for today. I would like to kindly ask that you would help our channel out by giving us a quick like, and if you want to see more, a subscribe would be greatly appreciated. Until next time, have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Down in Fraggle Rock, dance your cares away. Worries for another day. Let the music play. Down in Fraggle Rock. Down in Fraggle Rock. Down in Fraggle Rock. Down in Fraggle Rock.
Hey, that's my line.